Then you believe homemade bread in a glass jar can stay fresh for months when it's prepared and stored the right way. It sounds hard to believe, especially when regular bread can dry out or contain a lot of preservatives. Today, I'll share a simple old-fashioned method for making delicious seed bread right inside glass jars and sealing it while the bread is still hot. I'll start with the yeast mixture. Pour 300 milliliters of warm water into a bowl, then add 1 teaspoon of dry yeast. Stir it well until the yeast is evenly mixed into the water, then set the bowl aside for a moment. We will come back to this after the dry ingredients are ready. In a large bowl, add 230 grams of whole wheat flour, 60 grams of ground flaxseed, 50 grams of sunflower seeds, 50 grams of pumpkin seeds, and 50 grams of sesame seeds. Please remember that this recipe still uses whole wheat flour, so it is not gluten-free bread. If you have celiac disease or need to avoid gluten completely, you should not use this recipe. Choose a dedicated gluten-free recipe instead, and check the ingredients carefully before making it. Mix the dry ingredients well. I usually spend a little extra time on this step because if they are not mixed thoroughly, larger seeds like pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds can gather in one spot. Just by looking at the bowl of ingredients, you can probably already tell. This is going to be a very filling kind of bread, right? Pour in the yeast water we prepared earlier. You do not need to knead this dough the way you would with a traditional loaf of bread. Just keep mixing until the flour seeds and liquid come together into a thick, moist dough. It should look a little sticky but still hold its shape. That texture is exactly what we want for this kind of hearty bread. When the dough is mixed, cover the bowl with plastic wrap or a clean kitchen towel. Then place it in a warm spot and let it rest for about 60 minutes. During this time, the dough will relax and rise gently. While the dough is resting, prepare the glass jars. I like to use wide-mouth jars because they make it much easier to remove the bread after baking. Brush the inside of each jar with a thin layer of oil. This helps prevent sticking so the bread can slide out more easily once it is finished. After the dough has rested, spoon the dough into each wide-mouth glass jar, but do not fill them all the way to the top. Only fill each jar about halfway because the dough will continue to rise while it rests and again as it bakes. Press it down gently so it sits neatly inside the jar. At the same time, smooth out the surface. We only need to remove the large air pockets. Don't press too hard because that can make it harder for the dough to rise. Then take a clean towel and carefully wipe away any dough stuck to the inside walls and around the rim. This little step is important. The rim needs to stay clean so the lid can seal properly later. I learned this method for making bread in glass jars from my grandmother. She said it was passed down from Amish families, people who lived simply but were very clever when it came to preparing food. This method may be old-fashioned, but it is still very useful today, especially when we want to keep bread at home and enjoy it little by little. Leave them in a warm place for another 20 minutes. While they rest, preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius or about 390 degrees Fahrenheit. Before baking, I brush a thin layer of vegetable oil over the surface of the dough. And while we wait, tell me in the comments what country or city are you watching from. I always love knowing where we are cooking together. Now, place the jars on a cold baking rack and carefully move them into the oven. Bake for about 45 minutes. When the bread is finished, baking, be very careful because the jars will be extremely hot. Turn the jars upside down, cover them with a clean kitchen towel, and let them cool completely. As the jars cool, the lids will be pulled tighter, helping keep the bread inside sealed for longer. Once the jars have cooled completely, store them in a dark, dry, and cool place, such as a pantry or a kitchen corner, away from direct sunlight. What makes this method special is that the bread is baked right inside the glass jars and sealed while it is still hot. Because of that, if stored properly, the bread can stay fresh for a very long time, even up to a whole month. That's what my grandmother always says. But in my house, this bread is usually gone within just a few days. Haha. When you want to use it, simply take out one jar. Open the lid to check the bread, then gently remove it and enjoy. Now I'll open one jar so you can see the result. And the first thing you notice is that warm, nutty aroma from the whole wheat flour and all those seeds. I'll cut into the bread right here from this glass jar so you can see the texture inside more clearly. Do you see that? The inside of the bread is quite dense, soft, and moist with a natural thickness that feels very rustic, just like homemade bread should. This is not the light, fluffy kind of bread you usually use for sandwiches. It is a hearty seed bread made from simple ingredients, so when you eat it, it feels more filling and has a richer flavor. The convenient part is that if you do not finish it all at once, you can simply put the lid back on and store it for the next time. It is neat, easy to keep, and helps avoid waste. What do you think of this method? Let me know in the comments if you would like to try this bread in a glass jar recipe too. I hope this little method helps you reduce waste. Prepare ahead with more confidence and feel more comfortable in your own kitchen. Thank you for staying with me today. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next video.